Well, I guess I have decided that I'm gonna do a couple of videos and see where this goes, because me and my family have decided over a period of a while that we're going to start a farm, try to make some money off of it. And well, we got some animals and we're trying to sell them and got some things going. So I just wanted to post these videos to let you people know from all the stuff that you see online all the time that it's not nearly as easy as they make it out to be, because they've been doing it for a while and they got sponsors and making money and all this stuff. But when you're really doing it yourself, this is what you get. You got to make stuff out of nothing. So I'll show you some of the stuff I've done, and it's not pretty, but it works. This here is used to be the chicken coop. As you can see, I made it out of pine wood. Like literally, I just cut down pine trees and cut them and, you know, put them together. And here's my piggy wiggies. There's a bunch of them. As you can see, boy, they make a mess real quick. That used to be the chicken coops, now the pig thing. You know, these seven females, 3 males, and some piglets. And then I got, you see my chickens in there. My chickens is going to be relocated to a coop, which I'll show y'all in just a little while. I kind of built that out of nothing, but you know, literally I've tried just about everything with pigs. Pigs are some of the smartest and most aggravatingest animals that you can have. They get out and neighbors get kind of mad, but it happens. You know, you just got to sure up the everywhere you got, and I'm pretty sure there's better ways to do it than what I'm doing it, but it's a learning process. Maybe as time progresses and time goes on, you guys will see how things get better. I'm gonna show you my pathetic little garden. It didn't go nearly as well as I'd have liked it to went, but again, progress. And then over here, I fenced in an acreage, and I got some goats. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of like the goats a lot better. I let them out so they can do a little bit of clear. There they are, right there. My dog running around. You know, this is a true definition of homesteading. Is you know, we're not quite off the grid, but we homesteading. We trying to make do. So not a whole lot of money. I'm a veteran. 90%. I make about $2,800 a month. My wife works a little, enough to buy us what we need, and we got 3 kids, and well, it's an everyday aggravation. But I let them out so they can clear some of this underbrush, and my dogs, they like chasing them around a little bit, but so far they ain't did anything dangerous to them. But this here is their little goat habitat. It's just a dog pen with a tarp over it. Collects a little water, and I'll poke a hole in it and drain it off into the water tub. And then here's their whole pasture. It ain't much and it ain't a lot, but you know, eventually I plan on getting back here and doing some clearing and whatnot. But I don't have no tractor. I can't afford one. I'm broke. My credit's crap. Got kids, and they take about all my money along with my wife. But I mean, hey, when you love somebody, that's the way it goes, right? So, you know, we sell eggs, and trying to sell these pigs, and eventually I'm gonna get around to selling goat's milk. State of Alabama says I can't sell raw goat's milk. I got to sell it as pet food, so I'm gonna try to go about doing that. And, you know, thing is if ain't nobody to tell you, you got to try to figure all this stuff out. And well, so I figured out a couple of things, and that was pretty simple. Is I called the courthouse and talked to some people in the courthouse about getting the license, and they couldn't figure out what kind of license I needed. So basically, they just ended up giving me a produce license for the business. Business is 4 E's Ranch, ranch and farm. So it's 4 E's, as in Edwards. There's 4 of us. Well, it's not 4 of us. There's 5 of us, but it's 4 people I love, which is my 3 kids and my wife. So 4 E's, because our last name's Edwards. So 4 E's Ranch and Farm at gmail.com. 205-505-5174. Probably shouldn't be putting that out on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, but we gonna try. I don't know, whatever, we try it. And over here, that's my beehive. Hives. Well, one's working. I lost 2. It happened. If you're interested in hive stuff, which I'll eventually start posting some videos about that. I don't know if I'd call myself a creator, but just an honest man. I'll try to make some stuff on that. And this here's the chicken pen that I did up, and I got to move the chickens into it and clean it up, but there's still some finishing works that need to be done. As you can see, it's pretty much just all made out of scrap. So buddy of mine got some stuff, and he had this wood and this old vinyl tin for the roof, and I'm gonna put some pine straw in there and for them. And I got incubators and stuff, so eventually I'm gonna be selling some chicks, or at least I'm gonna try. I don't know, I'm not really in the right spot to be doing all this. And then I guess you call it Center Alabama, which is Pell City, Raglan, and so forth on. It's the center of the state, I guess. Alabama doesn't really have a whole lot of. You'd think Alabama would be all about farming, but apparently where I live, we don't have any. We got like livestock auctions and stuff like that, but I ain't no like meat markets or anything, and a bunch of deer processing, but I ain't really found a whole lot of pig processing. And there's a bunch of farmers out there, but I don't reckon anybody other than big giant people who've got hundreds and hundreds of acres of land, and they making a bunch of money. I'm gonna try right here on my little 7-acre farm that's in the beginning of the beginner stages, which you guys get to see. Say beginner stages, I mean seriously, like all I've got is fence up. Now, honey, I got the bees, and as you see back there, and right there is my shop, and that trailer was donated by my cousin, Eddie Weaver. God bless him. But God bless him. He died recently. He died, fell out of a tree, because he was a tree surgeon, had his own business, and kind of inspired me to get out here and start doing my own thing. So here's our house. It ain't a lot. It's Mama left it to me, and my trucks. So when I say we poor farmers, and literally starting, you know, like you see them homestead rescue and people on YouTube and everything, and they make it look all so easy, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, it's not easy at all. In fact, it's one of the hardest things that I ever set my mind to do, especially if you ain't rich and you ain't got a whole lot of stuff, and finding the animals was tough. It took me it took me 6 months to find the animals, and then I had to wait till taxes to buy the animals, and then I had to wait a couple weeks before they delivered the animals to me, which set me up a little bit. And then in the process of that, I had to, build pens and run, wire and fencing. Like my front fencing here, right now it's all barbed wire, and as you can see, it's not the prettiest thing in the whole wide world, but I run all the fence posts, and them old boys from Homestead Rescue, if they ever see this, they'll make fun of me for sure. Because they make it look so easy too. I'm pretty sure it ain't, but it sure enough looks easy. But all we got around here is pine trees. There's a few cedars here and there. And cedars what you want to go with, because it don't rot nearly as bad. Pine poles, they rot pretty quick in the ground. I don't have cement and material. I got a scraper that I scrape the bark off with, and a chainsaw that I cut stuff down with, and got my cousin, which is the cousin I was just talking about. He's doing that tree surgeon stuff too, and cutting down trees, and he brought me a whole bunch of stuff that him and his boss cut. So I got a bunch of poles and stuff that I can run, and I have to go to Tractor Supply for wire and all that stuff. And we're a little at a time. When you see farms that are up and running, generally they're second, third generation farmers, been doing it all their life. You starting out, it's hard. But if you see a farm, generally it's older folks, and everything's all set. They've been doing it for years. Nobody really wants to show the nitty gritty stuff, like when you start and how much it costs, and it costs a lot. That's why generally you don't really start a farm. A farm happens. You start off with some land you buy for your family, and you're working, and things go by, and eventually you're like, well, it's a side hustle, and and then maybe it progresses into a business. But if you want to start a farming business, you want to start a farm, homestead, make some money. It takes a while. There's a lot of things that you have to learn on the fly, and you got to network. Network. Like, I can't tell you how much networking you got to do. Neighbors, talk to, like, if you see them farms up there and they're working, you go and talk to them. And I'm gonna be honest with you, don't be surprised if they don't want to talk to you, because it's a competition out there, man. They do not want to let go of them secrets, especially first, third, and fourth generation farmers. They don't want to tell you. They really don't. Now, the bee guys, the arborists, the honeybees. I may have screwed that up. I'm still learning. Now, them guys talk to you. They'll talk to you till your head falls off. They will. They will absolutely give you everything you need, and won't charge you a whole lot for bee. They'll be like, hey man, come over, you help me, they'll help you get set up. There's bee clubs out there that, you know, like I'm in one that I still need to pay for. It's like $10 a month to go and talk to these guys. And there's, you know, 15 of them or whatever. And you start making friends with them, or at least acquaintances of them. And but they, you know, they love bees, man. Bees is it gets off into your blood, and you love them, especially if you ain't allergic to them. You know, honey is good. They man, good. They so much that goes in with that. You know, so if you're trying to run a farm and then you want to have 15, 20, 30 bees, good luck. I ain't got that much energy, because they are constant. I mean, it ain't like back when my great granddaddy was doing it. You know, you just set a hive out there and then you go out there and get honey twice a year. No, it's a lot more complicated now. There's gorilla mites and hive beetles and wax moths and all kinds of stuff that you just gotta keep on with. So honestly, the non-maintenance animals I got is probably the goats, you know, and I'm waiting for them to get pregnant so that I can start getting some milk. But you know, it's every day. You know, you gotta hustle and find wood and hustle and find, you know, feed. You got to have the money for the feed, but feed cost ain't that bad. You know, you can get all stock and pig feed for like $10 and $13. And then up the road a little bit from me, there's a gentleman that sells hay, so I can buy the hay and stuff from him. But you know, he's coming up with the money. You know, you got bills to pay, and here in the state of Alabama, you know, power bill, Alabama Power, just about, they'll do it to you, man. Can't say it's all them and not us, you know, but with the economy the way it is, Trump doing what he's doing and trying to get things better, you know, we're still reeling from the Biden administration, and starting a farm after the Biden administration into this new Trump era is difficult, because, you know, he ain't quite got the economy where it needs to be yet. So, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, my $2,800, boy, I'd have been good. You know, I'd have had money and then some for feed and fencing and save a little for animals and everything. But you know, right after this Biden administration, boy, we you know, the whole world's feeling it. You feeling it? I know you feeling it. You know, especially if you're watching this dumb video. You know, I'm just an old country boy. You know, redneck, if you will. You know, fat and happy, and, you know, ex-army vet, just trying out here to do stuff. So, you know, problem with this stuff is pretty simple. You know, you got your everyday stuff that you got to do. You got the house maintenance and the kids and the, you know, if you're working, you know, and doing this as a hobby or as a side hustle. You know, then your weekends is ate up because you're trying to do this. You got to do this stuff before work. You know, I'm retired, so I get to do this stuff every day, and you know, still, you know, and then getting on Facebook and promoting stuff on Facebook, getting on YouTube, trying to promote stuff on YouTube, but, you know, got to deal with the algorithm, so I'm pretty sure not a lot of people will watch this. The more I post, maybe the more it'll go. I don't really know. Maybe you guys will like me because I'm just a dumb redneck who's out here doing stuff. Maybe you like this video. I don't know, maybe you'll watch it. I don't really know. It's not super exciting. It's not like I'm building something or doing a whole. I'm just telling you how it is. You know, running fencing is hard. It's not. They make it look so easy. I can tell you, it's not hard, especially if you ain't got fence pullers and you got to use old come along and all that stuff. So it's one couple steps at a time. You know, like I said, when you're talking about running a farm, you're talking about getting things started. You know, let's say not business, just wanting to get things started. It ain't something you can just wake up on a Saturday morning and get it done and it be done and be like, well, you know, I'm gonna build these pens. Like, if you got the money for it, absolutely you can do it. If you're a millionaire and you can hire somebody to come and build pens and all. But if you're doing it yourself, you know, give yourself 2-3 years. You know, figure out, you know, sit down, take a piece of paper, lay out your property and see, like, you know, say, hey, how am I going to do this? You know, where am I going to put? Then you got to start looking for the animals, you know, local animal vendors, local farms that are selling, you know, chickens. Since Biden, you know, chickens and roosters is hard to find. You know, I mean, they you can get them cheap. I think I started last year with chickens, and I built that pen back here where the hogs is at now. And I had chickens for, I don't know, 6 months. I had like 43 chickens for about 6 months, and I was doing good. Eggs started coming, and I started selling some eggs. Now I wouldn't say I made any kind of profit. I think I made maybe $100 last year off of eggs. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, it's hard. You got to go through a bunch of different things. There's, you know, you'd be lucky if you break even. I'm gonna be real honest with you. You're probably gonna lose money starting out unless you're real good about finance management and start promoting your stuff real heavy and drive to the farmers markets and get the license and all the good stuff. But it you know, that's one thing I hope Trump does is make it easier, you know, because it's hard getting them licensed, you know, and if you try to run a business and get an LLC, it costs you money, like $300. Websites cost you money, promoting on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that. It's not, you know, just time. And then, you know, you can't really add your time factor into it, you know. So, you know, like a regular, out of camera, like a regular business, you would say, you know, I go to work for 8 hours a day and I make X amount of dollars, and that brings me home X amount per week or every 2 weeks or whatever. But with farming, it's not like that. I mean, you might as well not even put in labor. You know, just put your expenses in there, and then, you know, you tally up at the end of the year how much money you made to how much money you spent, and if you made anything above what you spent, that's your profit. And if you do real good, you real good, and some years you ain't gonna do good at all. I mean, Alabama don't have any subsidies, so there's no, you know, the government ain't gonna give me any money, and then my credit's crap because I'm just a dumb redneck. So, you know, credit cards and all that stuff. So, I mean, you know, max them out, pay them off, for own loans, and get loans and these little tiny loans. I mean, just trying to survive each year. But, you know, you save up a little money and buy this, and save up a little money and buy that, scrounge around, go to, you want to get a lot of lumber? Go to construction site. Ask the foreman if you can have trash. Load up trash, bring it home, and just use. I mean, it's part of homesteading, right? Part of homesteading is taking something that's trash and making it into something you need. That really is the case. You got to have a little bit of building skills, and I don't have a whole lot of building skills. I know a little bit, but you know, I don't know, I'm not a very patient fella, so, you know, I start building something, I got it, you know, great in my head, but it doesn't work out that way. It ends up looking like, well, my chicken coop, which is basically just me throwing a bunch of lumber together, trying to get it to work so I can, you know, put a coop in. You want to go and get a fancy coop, you know, go to Tractor Supply or Home Depot or online and order one, $300-400, and you got one, you know, and it looks great, you know, backyard chicken cooping for sure. But I'm homesteading, and this, you know, trying to run a ranch and a farm, and I don't know if you'd call it a ranch as much because I ain't really got, 8 animals maybe, but we're working on it. We're working on it. So, you know, this video is just me talking, yes, and you probably ain't gonna be doing a whole lot of listening because you'd rather see something else, chainsaws, whatever. But there's more videos to come. This is the first video. This is the introduction to who I am and what 4E's Ranch is going to be. A couple of years go by, and maybe it'll get where I get. You know, I put in. That's the other thing too. You can't really see it, but zoom in a little bit. That tree right there, and that tree right there, and these trees. These are my peach trees and my apple trees, and we got lucky with the pear tree and a pecan tree. And when we used to have 10 acres here before my mama split it up between family, thank you mama, I had 6 pear trees. I got the one and it's producing fruit, and I'm gonna try to figure out, you know, probably make hog feed out of it, to be honest with you. But I got persimmon trees in the back. It's again farming, ranching, setting up your little farm. You got to set up where you want, you know, your orchard at. You know, you figure out where you're gonna put that at, and is it going to interfere with animals, or then you got to, you know, really got to design out your property. Once you design out your property, then you got to do it. So I'd say average farm, getting started, animals, fencing, 2-3 years, you know, on baseline income. If you scrap around, find wood, and you know, and you're doing it every day like me, you know, 2 years maybe to get everything up and going, get everything set. And then even then it's you know, constantly back and forth, you know, is this going to be here? I need to build this. Oh, they need a barn. So don't get discouraged. God has a plan for you. As always, God's good. So hit your knees, pray for God, pray to God, pray to Jesus. Tell them what you're trying to do. Ask them if that's what they want you to do. You know, there's a little voice. You're supposed to be able to hear them, and they tell you what they want you to do, and you do it. And you do it for them, and everything works out. If you do it for the world's going to collapse in on you, and it's going to suck. It really is. So God is number one in farming. If anybody says different, they will argue the point, I guess. But God is utmost in farming. You know, He's the life giver. He is the life. If you're going to have animals, you're going to have orchards, you're going to have fruit, you're going to have veggies, you're going to try to sell stuff. But God is number one in that. So that's I'd say the first step is get right with God. Remember, it's going to take you a couple of years to get stuff done. Plan out what you're going to do, and then network, farmers and everything. So from 4E's Ranch, I'm going to say adieu and say goodbye to you. So I hope you watch it. Like and subscribe to my channel if there's going to be one. We just, again, starting up. So like, share me, get me out there, man, so that I can get something started. This is kind of like begging, but y'all have a good day.